We work in FrontCom. I have with me you, Pawel. Maybe you can introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Pawel. I'm Drupal and WordPress developer, and I'm very happy to show you the 3 of the most awesome features that Gutenberg Drupal offers.
Oh yeah. So let's get started. First, quickly, I'm not sure if you heard about FrontCom before. We are an open source focused agency located in Norway, Portugal, and Poland, and we have a small office in Berlin. So we do a lot of Drupal, and we've been doing that for a long time now. And our vision is basically that Drupal should be the most user-friendly enterprise CMS out there. Drupal should be easy to use for newcomers. And then Gutenberg Editor. What exactly is it? Let's start there. I will show a couple of demos to show you how it is to work in that editor, basically. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm in Drupal. I create a new page. And in Gutenberg here, you can see it's very minimalistic. I start by adding a header here in the top and start typing some text. The rest is white. I can turn that into an H1. I will just paste some text below it, make it bold, and I can change the font size for that. Below there, I'm gonna paste some more text just to have a couple of more paragraphs. And then in between, I'm gonna add an image. So I can just drag and drop an image here from my computer. You get a preview and you see that it actually loads in the editor. I can change the alignment, set that to right centered. I think it's a bit large, so I can take this, you can see them, the blue areas where I can pull it and it turns more small as I want it. I have a field for image caption below, so I just add some, text description there. Some nature for y'all, yeah. Below there, I'm just setting the marker in the end and hit enter. I get into a new column here. And then I can start by adding a forward-leaning slash and then just start typing. I get a live search and I can just hit enter and I get a gallery widget. I select the images I want from the media gallery. And after that, I just click select to use these images. You see that I get a nice styling there. I'm able to move them back and forth in the right order. And I can also use this drag in the handler to set the amount of columns, as you see there. I can even set 1 column if I want to, but it's gonna take a bit too much space for this scenario. So I'm setting that back to 4 columns. Yeah, now I get a nice row of photos there. Okay, I start to write some more text. And so after I've done that, I want to change that to a quote. I can go in there and say that this should be a quote, and I'm converting that. You see that I get a quote styling to it, and I just can add my name in the separate field below it there. And I'm able to drag and drop that up and down as I would like. But usually I like to use the arrows to move it up and down. You can see it follows very nicely. But I can always see where my focus point is. Okay, so that was the basics on how to work with an article in Drupal Gutenberg. Now let's go slightly more advanced. We'll continue with the same starting point, adding some more complexity. I start typing the block I want to add. I want to add a couple of columns. I can choose different layouts, as you see. So I click that, slightly larger left column and a smaller right column. I'm gonna copy paste some text from up here and paste that into my first column like this. And on my right-hand side, I'm gonna start by adding a new quote. So start typing some new text here. Nice column. I will use that for sure. Okay, and who said that? Well, that could be Marco, for example, our Drupal Gutenberg lead developer. Let's pretend he said that. And then I want to add an image above that. So I use the small plus sign, and then I find a photo, which is not Marco. He doesn't look like that at all. But let's pretend. You can see that it gets the right size according to my column. And then below that, I want to add some contact information, like a phone number and an email. So I do that. And this is pure text, but I'm now able to style this in a nice way. You see, I have color settings here in the sidebar. If I set that to blue, you can see also that the text also automatically adjusts to white. And I am able to override it if I go down to text color and set that to black, for example, like this. But I'm going to turn that off again and use the default, which is quite nice. Okay, just going to copy paste some more text here to make that first column look a bit more balanced. There we go. Now, okay, you can see also that I'm able to drag and drop, to pull the column width. And even set a percentage in number in the sidebar if I want to. Yeah, and now I actually have something that could be a long read article or maybe even a landing page, for some situations. Okay, now that was the introduction. That's what Gutenberg is all about. It takes a part of the node form, the usual node Drupal form, and creates a very nice surface of working in the first column there. Now, in a typical Drupal website, the thing you just saw here would probably look like something like this. You've all seen it before. This one is a content type with a bunch of fields, a lot of options and variations. I'm scrolling a lot here, and in the end, you'll see that blue save button in the bottom. Looking at this, it's very hard to guess how will this look in the front end. When I'm done, how will it look? Hard to tell. So we went from having a backend that looks like something like this into something a bit more like this. I have a hero banner in the top. I have some options there. I can set my focal point for the background image, set an overlay color, choose the opacity for that. I can, of course, go straight in and edit the text as I go, turn my call to action buttons on, off, things like that. And of course, this is something that's very pleasing for people that works with this content. Now let's look at another example. Let's think for a moment that we want to create some design that looks a bit like this. You have 3 columns and you have some icons in the top and the call to action button. Now, I could start something like this just by using Gutenberg core blocks. I would start with adding 3 columns in the top like this, and then start to paste some text and a button and an icon into that. Now, after I've done that, I can now copy my starting point here into my next columns. And after that, then I can start by changing the background color, for example. And these colors are all fetched from the Drupal theme to make sure that they work well with the rest of the design. But notice how easy it is to break this, to break the design. So our first solution to that could be to lock the blocks into the positions that we have there. That would help. And it will help us to give the styling that we want. But the thing is that the client wants more flexibility like this. They want to have a fixed icon set. You see there are some icons here. So what we did with a custom Gutenberg block was to create an interface for that. You can see here that I'm able to click the different icons in the right sidebar, and it updates instantly. They have about 200 icons, this company, and they are categorized as you see here. And it updates instantly when I click them. I'm also able to set different themes to the different columns. You see the options down there with a very basic preview. I just click the one I would like, and then I can, of course, here as well, move along, just edit the text right in place. So it looks very much like a front end. It's not 100%. It's not like a true Visivig, just because you need some more spacings here and there, but it's very close. So you might be thinking, well, do I dare to move into this new territory? I mean, is this really adopted and used? Yeah, totally. Gutenberg is used by millions of websites already. It's actually founded in the WordPress communities. And what Frontcom did was to port that into Drupal. And it works very well. And now, Pawel, let's get more technical. Maybe you can explain how this can be used for automated listings and other situations.
Yeah, okay. So as you can see, Gutenberg allows us to dynamically edit the content with using so-called blocks, which becomes a static HTML after saving it.
Yeah.
But we can have dynamic blocks not only within the editor, but also on the front of our site. We can use Drupal blocks such as views block, which is a Drupal core functionality, just like a regular Gutenberg block. The only difference being that instead of static HTML, we get dynamic content. For example, a list of our articles provided by the views block. So how to do that? Let me show you an example on video. Let's try to make a block with a list, for example, 8 most recent articles, and show it on our homepage.
Let's do it.
Yep. Okay, but first of all, we need to ensure that we have Gutenberg Editor enabled, and this is just regular Godot, so we can check it, for example, here on the extend admin page. Here we are. So once we do that, we can create our view block. So let's go to the views settings page. And here I already prepared mine. I call it simply recent articles. And I set it to display 8 items. You must only remember to use display type as a block. Thanks to this Gutenberg, we have access to our view. So once you do all the things here, we can go to the settings of our content type. In our case, this is the basic page. When we enable a Gutenberg editor. So here you can see additional settings, Gutenberg experience, when you can turn on editor. Now we have additional settings like template, but we'll get back to this later.
Yeah.
Allow Gutenberg blocks, when you can add or remove available blocks for our content type. And here we have settings for dynamic blocks, where we can add our brand new recent articles dynamic block. Okay. Now let's edit our front page. It is empty for now, but we'll add our brand new block. It should be under the Drupal blocks category. And lo and behold, here we have our articles. Let's see what we have on the front. And great, it looks pretty the same.
Nice.
Yeah, but let's check if the list is truly dynamic. Let's, for example, delete the first entry. And look what has happened. The second one jumped into the place of the first one. So they are truly dynamic. This could be all about dynamic blocks, but I'd like to show you something more.
Please do.
Yeah, I prepared one more dynamic block for you. It also displays articles, so it looks pretty the same as the previous one. But here we have more magic, additional settings for that block. For example, the input field to set the offset to our listing. We can skip some articles at the beginning of the list. And look, while I'm increasing the value, the blocks automatically updates.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we have to do something more with this. Let's add some additional block. It could be any block, maybe some heading. And let's increase the value to the 8 to display entries from 9 to 12. And look, now we have list of the 8 articles, then some other block, and then we can continue the list without any duplication. Yeah,
Nice.
that is awesome, in my opinion. But you need to know that dynamic blocks are ready, but dynamic blocks with additional settings is still under development. But I'm very happy that I could show you how they work right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably guess, why do we need Gutenberg Editor already? But let's see what Thor is going to tell us now.
So, I mean, obviously you can see some strengths and nice use cases for something like this. But you might still be thinking, well, I can do the same kind of work only with views and templates, or even page builders like paragraphs or layout builder. But remember, the people that should spend most time on the website that you build, it's actually the content creators, the authors. And the thing is that you cannot force people to do an excellent job. They just gotta love it. And what do we do to make that happen? Well, we provide people with a nice work area, a nice culture within the company, nice colleagues, and you give them the tools that they need. That ambience will give an excellent place to grow and focus. So this is what we actually experience when we introduce the Gutenberg Editor. And some people that has worked with CMSs for years can seem skeptic at first. But what we see with people that are new to CMSs are reactions like, we want this now. Drupal needs this, things evolve, this is excellent. And that could be related to many things, some of the obvious things that we demoed here are like, it's a good way of working with content, but it could also be in the tiny details, like just being able to copy paste in a proper way. I mean, like being able to copy the first half of a landing page with lots of content, and then mix that together with content on other pages. It's not really typically features that you expect from a CMS, but when you get it, you're just super happy. And of course, you get unbeatable performance. As Pawel mentioned, most of the actual code here is stored in the body field. So it's fast to deliver and it's easy to cache. And we know what you're thinking. but we'll get back to that because there are some good solutions to how to handle everything in a body field.
Yes.
So basically, if you want to stand out as winners in an area, you'll have to do something about that ambition. And as a developer or an agency, when will your projects be a success? Is it when A, the job is done, site is launched according to the specification agreed with the client, or is it B, when you get feedback 3 months later, like, wow, this is great for our organization. People are so effective now. Instead of spending time on manuals and training, now we can do what we really want, to create great content for our website and our target groups. You know, and the result of that is that you'll be asked for more work in the future. You'll make more money, basically. But to do that, you need to learn the tech behind it. Now, Pawel, you showed us how to work with dynamic content earlier. We've seen how flexible Gutenberg can be, but can you show us how to make it more strict when we need to? I mean, sometimes we need to set some clear limits and boundaries, right?
Yeah. So you convinced me to use that editor for sure. But let's think a little bit about content creators. So let's say that our site has a blog with different articles, with many different articles, published by multiple authors. We want the authors of the post to be able to easily and intuitively place and edit the content of their article. We want them to have a lot of freedom with this. So isn't the perfect place to use Gutenberg Editor?
Yes.
Yes, of course it is. But let's play the role of our author. Let's see what our example article should look like. At the top of the post, we have a feature image, then the title, and then the content. This all looks like it could be created with Gutenberg blocks, right? Yes. But isn't too much freedom, actually. We want the articles to look consistent, but we cannot predict if people will remember to put the appropriate blocks in the right order. So, wouldn't it be great if you could have give them a hint on how to prepare content, or even better yet, provide them a guide or template of the blocks they should use. And so we are able to do that with Gutenberg. We can set an initial block structure for each node so that our authors will easily see where to start when creating their articles. We call it page template. And let's see how it works in practice. Let's say that we have 3 elements that author must complete each time: a feature image, leading paragraph, and article content. So now let's recreate the structure with a page template. A little bit of code here, but we are still inside the admin editor. Okay, so let's go to the Gutenberg Experience Configuration page for article content this time. In the template field that we are already seen, we will define our basic initial structure. The page template is configured by placing the names and attributes of the blocks in the template field between the square brackets, like this, and the blocks itself, and the attributes are also placed between that kind of brackets. So we have a 2-dimensional array structure here. Okay, let's look closer at our template. We need to set the feature image. So let it be just core image block. The ID here, core/image, is the name of the block. The names of the Gutenberg core blocks that you can use will be available in Drupal Gutenberg module documentation. Okay, we can go to the leading paragraph and let it be just simple paragraph block. Apart from the name, we can optionally set the initial values for the attributes available for the given block, such as placeholder for paragraph block. And we call it leading paragraph here. Okay, now the content. Here we have to use a special Drupal section block. Thanks to this, we'll be able to add more Gutenberg blocks in the editor in this place, in our page template. We can also protect our template against modification. Oh, look at that. Against modification. We can completely disallow making changes to the template by selecting all, or only allow to change the order of the blocks in page template by selecting insert. Okay, now we can get back to the slide that you already seen.
Yeah.
So now we can create a new article. When we set the page template, we immediately see it after creating each article. So we easily see what we need to fill.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We can add some feature image and some needed paragraph. You could see the placeholder that we set previously in the page template settings. And now the content. This is Drupal section block. This could be heading, and let me copy paste some content. And finally, we can add the title for our article.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. At first glance, it looks fine, but look, the feature image is in the wrong position.
Yeah.
It should be over here, above the title and date. And
I
also our leading paragraph doesn't look like leading paragraph, actually. So what was happened? Let's get back to the edit page. Yeah, in fact, we add our page template, all the blocks, inside the body field. And title and date are separated Drupal fields, and they have their own place in the tweak template. So wouldn't it be better to use Drupal fields also for leading paragraph and image? Yes, and actually we have to do that. So, so why did we create a page template, since we cannot put blocks, Gutenberg blocks, anywhere in the template, in the tweak template of our article? Because we need that to take advantage of another great feature that Drupal Gutenberg offers.
Oh yeah.
Field mapping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now we've looked at how we can define a template, a fixed layout for our content. But remember, Gutenberg usually saves all its data in body field. But now let's look at how we can use that content to prefill Drupal fields. Yes, exactly. We can edit Drupal field with a Gutenberg block. Sounds interesting, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how does it work? Let's get back to our page template again. This is where all the magic happens. To assign a template block to appropriate fields, let's add a special attribute, mapping fields, to our image, feature image, and leading paragraph block. The attribute consists of the key mapping fields and the value in the form of array. in case of text fields, we need to add only the machine key of Drupal field, like here. It is field accept in case of our leading paragraph. And to map image, we need to add also a special property target ID to attribute of the Gutenberg block. So we need to set target ID and attribute. This notation may seem confusing, but after a while you will quickly notice that it is simple JSON notation. And in most cases, it will almost like exactly like in this example. This is the standard configuration. Yeah, so now we can recreate our article with fields, Drupal fields that are assigned to Gutenberg blocks.
Yeah.
So let's add it again. Yeah, we see the same page template. Okay, let's quickly re-edit it. Let's copy paste the content. Some more text. And again the title. Okay, you can save. And look, everything is on their places.
Oh yeah.
Because we filled appropriate Drupal fields by using page template. And as you can see, now the authors can focus only on create their content. They don't need to look for appropriate Drupal fields around the admin page, as Thor have showed us. They see everything in the visual editor. They see everything as a Gutenberg blocks, and we can allow them to add more blocks, or we can completely fix the template. We can set the template for article without letting the authors any modification. So we have fully control how the articles or other pages can look on our site. Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. So where we can go from here?
Yeah, let's talk about that. I mean, first, thank you so much for great input there. I mean, this is where we really see the strength of Gutenberg in a proper Drupal project, where we're able to use the, the Gutenberg area to actually manipulate and add content for all other fields as well on that node that they're working on. So that's great. But of course, for many of you, it's new technology. I mean, this is a starting point and a very brief go through of how to work with Drupal Gutenberg. Of course, there is a couple of videos out there, tutorials on Drupal Gutenberg. You will find some more information about this on the Drupal Gutenberg project on Drupal.org with some documentation there. But in addition to that, if you really want to get fast, up to speed, working with development for this, we in Frontcom are currently working on an onboarding program. It will basically be training sessions, mostly online, but after COVID-19, we could do that on site also. We could do weekly follow-up meetings and Slack support for developers. And we could help out with code review from the Drupal Gutenberg lead developer and so on. So, those typically first session could look like something like this, an introduction to the Drupal, to the Gutenberg core, how to get to know that, the anatomy of blocks, how to plan your work. It's a bit different from just working with a regular node form. How to create your first custom block and do advanced block templating. We can help out with real-world projects and how to handle migrations and everything like that. So that's something, if that seems interesting to you or your company, just reach out and we can discuss that. Also, in the end, let me just share another demo of a bit of a different hero banner in the top of a landing page. In this hero, we have a standard banner, we have a background image, and also an optional extra image that we could use only for narrow screen sizes for mobile. We're able to work with the text in the expected way, and do the same with links. But also there is an optional video as background. Here we use Vimeo, and just by pasting that Vimeo ID, we're actually loading the video in the background. Quite nice.
Wow.
And if I actually replace the Vimeo ID with another video, it instantly loads the new video instead. So, it's this kind of user experience that we want to give to our authors, basically. So also before your questions, I see that some has come in here, so we'll go to them very quickly. But before that, we also have a bunch of frequently asked questions that we usually get when people, get to know Gutenberg. So first of all, what kind of sites are we looking at where Gutenberg could be a great match? Well, typically larger projects, larger sites where you have a lot of content and a lot of editors, that they just have to go in there and create their content and, focus on that, not everything else. Does it provide too much flexibility? I mean, you could even set font size and everything like that. Yeah, out of the box, it does for most projects, especially if you have a lot of content creators. But in real life, if it's a proper project, you're able to do that exactly how you need to. This is actually the place where you're actually able to do something about that and make it perfectly match the design that you have set for the project and the website. Can we use it with workflows? Yeah, no problem. Can we use it with other modules, or must everything be rebuilt? It generally works with more than the other solutions out there. And yes, it's not a problem to have Gutenberg on some content types and then have other content types be more standard Drupal. If it's very field heavy with 50 fields, it's probably easier to just use the standard. Is it secure? Yeah, just as secure as Drupal itself. And what about performance? I mentioned it earlier, but it's very easily cacheable. And we're not talking about Drupal Gutenberg cloud blocks in this session, but that's an option to create cloud blocks or use blocks that others have built. And by using that, you actually get CDN straight from Cloudflare, straight out of the box. And that will give you better performance than most sites out there. So that was some questions. And now, I guess, thank you all. I saw some nice feedback coming in the chat here. Thank you all for that. If you have questions, feel free to ask them now or just send us emails.
Yeah, I can see some questions here.
Yes, we actually have lots of questions from Alexander Lunov. Thank you for that. And I will probably read them and you will try to answer, okay?
Yes, please.
So the question number one is how complicated it is to develop new Gutenberg components in Drupal?
That's a great question. First of all, I mean, Gutenberg is React-based. But the truth is that what we see with our developers is that getting to know Gutenberg is a perfectly great way of getting to know React, actually. We have created some scripts there that helps you get started on that. So you get like a boilerplate of getting started with your custom blocks. And if the question here is related to how it is to work with Gutenberg in Drupal, then I can say that it would be just the same as using Gutenberg for WordPress, for example. Actually, you could create custom Gutenberg blocks and use the same block in Drupal as in WordPress. In fact, in some projects, we have a React front-end developer that has no Drupal experience, and he has actually built blocks for Drupal. So it's very easy to use this cross projects, cross sites, and use a developer that is in a different stack than the traditional Drupal stack.
Yeah, that's right. Because Drupal Gutenberg is based on React, but it is a very simple version of React, so you don't need to be senior React developer, and you don't need to even know a lot about this. Mm-hmm. But you need only remember that you can use WordPress documentation to know how to create blocks.
Yeah.
But please remember that Drupal Gutenberg module is based on JavaScript only. So you can create any blocks by using JavaScript, because in WordPress it is separated to PHP and JavaScript. And in Drupal you need to use JavaScript only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Next question.
But in most cases it works pretty the same. So as Thor said, you can use the same blocks in WordPress and Drupal.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, okay, coming to the next question. Does it have mobile preview?
That's a good question also. Of course, for many of you, you want to be mobile first, also for the content creators. Drupal Gutenberg, it doesn't have like a specific mobile preview, but it's responsive. So if you have people that are working with Gutenberg in a narrow area, you would basically get that mobile preview. But keep in mind, however, and this is related to all content creation when you're working with responsive websites. The typical scenario would be for content creators to focus on building, the structure of the content, and not focus 100% on the pixel perfect outcome, because you can't really predict that anyway. But you are totally able to make the editor more narrow and work in a mobile preview.
Yeah. That's right. You can imagine that the Gutenberg as a just simple text, a simple HTML, because if you can turn also not React view, but also the code view inside the editor, and you can easily see that it is just simple HTML under the hood. So if you're creating some blocks, it at the end it creates only HTML inside the editor. So you can copy this HTML and put in any other editor. It should look the same on the front. So every previews for the given content type will look the same on the regular Drupal editor, just like for Gutenberg editor. It works the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in our first Gutenberg projects, we often strive at having like a perfect equal backend as a front end. But we quite quickly realized that it gave like a bad return on investment, and it basically gave some challenges. I mean, Gutenberg requires a bit of spacing outside of the blocks to work, so we don't recommend doing the backend exactly equal as the front end, though you are able to do it if you have a very limited amount of blocks, typically. Okay, next question, I think.
Next question is, what are limitations of using it with contrib themes?
Well, I guess maybe you have to help me out there a bit, Pawel. I mean, but and it depends on what you're talking about, front end or back end theme.
I think it should work everywhere where we have body field available, because Gutenberg basically takes over body field.
Yeah.
And everywhere when we can use just simple editor, super duper editor, the Gutenberg should work.
Yeah.
So this is the only limitation, I guess.
Yeah. And I guess you just have to be aware that some blocks come with some styling from the block itself. So just keep that in mind, I guess.
Okay, thank you. The next one is it possible to use Gutenberg for managing layout for custom blocks, for example?
As far as I know, not yet, but we are working on this. So actually, you can use Gutenberg only in the node body editor.
No, but you are able to use custom Drupal blocks and add them straight to your content, right?
Yes, inside the editor, as I showed in this presentation, you can use Drupal blocks, but you can't use Gutenberg inside the editor of the custom blocks.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, I understand now. I see what you mean.
Okay, thank you. The next one, also from Alexander. Alexander is assuming there should be no issues with multilingual support, revisions, using references to custom blocks, etc. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And like Pawel is saying, it's mostly because we're heavily relying on the body field for that. And even when we have field mapping, I mean, then we simply take data from Gutenberg and put that into other fields. So it's a big step up and very much easier to handle translations with Gutenberg than some other systems. Yeah.
Okay, and the next one is what are known issues and limitations of Drupal Gutenberg, except of those which were already?
Yeah. Well, we do have an issue queue with some issues that needs to be solved. And there are, of course, some edge cases, like for example, mentioned here. Can we use Gutenberg to edit content of a Drupal block? Things like that. That could be challenging. What we are currently working on, which can be a bit tricky, is to handle a situation where you want some specific roles to have access to just some of the Gutenberg blocks for a specific content type. Let's say, for example, that you have an article content type and you want some authors to be able to use all the blocks and then other people to just use some of them. You know, that it has some obvious issues. Just because, you know, if one with a lot of permission went in there and opened up the content first, what would that look like when you come in with less permissions, things like that. So in real life, what we typically would need to do as a workaround then was to have like separate content types. I mean, do it that way. Yeah.
Pawel, anything you want to add?
I guess no. You need only remember that also Gutenberg is a very new editor even for WordPress, which is origin of that concept. And any issue that it is visible in WordPress would be visible also in Drupal Gutenberg, but some things we solved and trying to fix that still exist in WordPress, but we're trying to fix them in Drupal. So it could even work better.
Yeah.
Like, for example, field mapping. In my opinion, it works better for Drupal than in WordPress.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, Drupal is very solid in that way, so it's very well set together to do things like this. There's a question I see there also about project stability.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so we can say that I mean the module has been stable for a while, and we've had a bit of a period now where we haven't had, you know, the often releases as we had earlier. It's just been so much work for us last time, so we're definitely getting back to that. But I mean, it's I would say it's rather stable. There are issues, and often some of the issues are related to a bit of an edge case. I mean, so if you're actually just building typical content types like landing page content type and article content type, then you're solid. So yeah, but it would be great to get more people on board, you know, working issue queues, and there is some requests coming in there that we're not able to handle all of them. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Pawel, you want to add anything?
No, I guess no. So explains everything.
Let's go then to the next question from Zviratko. How Drupal Gutenberg stores data in database? Is it structured data with the scheme, or it's just pure HTML? How the native Gutenberg library works?
Mm-hmm. That's a very good question. And the thing is that both is a bit true. The data is structured, you know, because you have actual blocks and IDs, and you're able to make things actual dynamic. But however, it's still stored in the body field. So it has like extra tags there and comments. You'll see that if you check the source code. So yes, it's not. It's stored in the body field. That's the short answer, I suppose. But as we mentioned earlier, also you're totally able to do field mapping and store content in separate fields when that, you know, gives benefits.
Yeah, I can only add. This is perfectly everything about this. I can only add that Gutenberg works like this because when we're creating some Gutenberg blocks, after saving it, the Gutenberg transfers the blocks into simple HTML with additional comments, HTML comments, where some data is stored. So please don't remove that comments. For example, some modules or plugins can remove comments from HTML to solve some SEO issues, and that's could be issue for the Gutenberg. So you need to remember to keep that comments. Mm-hmm. But after saving and opening editor again, the Gutenberg trying to get back data from HTML and recreate the React-based blocks based on comments and the HTML that it saves in body field. Mm-hmm. So it saves. Regarding to the question, it's Thor said it saves all in database in the node tables. So it's just simple text.
And there's a great follow-up question to that from Dima here, because, you know, if it's all stored in the body field, how does the dynamic content work then? And that's very relevant. I guess you have to help me out there, Pawel. What kind of magic happens here?
Yeah. Okay. So we used that to use to do that, we use the Drupal filters. When we add dynamic block, as you could see when we try, the only specific comments it's adding to an editor, and we are using filters to pre-filters, PHP filters that transfer that HTML comment into dynamic block, into dynamic content on the front, and also inside the editor. So this is created by PHP inside of Gutenberg module, but still in the database it saved only HTML content inside the body field, and all the magic is happens during the rendering of the node.
Yeah.
When that HTML comment is transferred into the view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So typically, what we only store there in the body field when you add that dynamic recent articles, for example, is that ID for the view, right?
Right.
And that's, that's what makes this very powerful. I mean, you can use views and build them exactly as you want. You save that as a view block, and then you can just activate that on your content type where you have Gutenberg activated. And then you will get that straight into the editor. So you basically just have to style it to make it look nicely. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And Gutenberg Dynamics blocks, just out of the box, use the same HTML content and styling on the front and inside the editor.
Mm-hmm.
So if you style your styling on the front, you can also state the same HTML code inside the editor page.
Yeah. Okay.
Great, thank you. And we have one more question from Nico.
Yeah.
If I change a paragraph template, all paragraphs will be updated automatically. With Gutenberg, updates of block templates have to resave all nodes to adopt the changes?
Good question. I'm not sure if I understand fully.
Yeah.
Maybe we can ask Nico to unmute and...
How to change the markup of a quote text, for example.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Nico.
Yes,
hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah, that was the question. Like everything is saved in the body blob, I would say. Like how to, like if I have a quote or something like this, and I now want to change globally the H1 to H2 or something, or add some microdata, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in the template normally from a paragraph block or something.
Right.
This is not possible, I think.
It's, I mean, Gutenberg actually has some very sophisticated solutions to this down under the hood. You're actually able to run different versions of a block. You can have like a deprecated version. So you could have like old content following one regime, using H2 or whatever, or that styling change, and then newly created content do something else. And you're also able to go in there and create, custom logic for, I mean, when you open an old block, you could get that, hey, it seems like this block needs to be fixed. You want us to try to auto-fix it? Yeah, please. And then, it would do that. It will require, that kind of work when you create new changes and build them. But you are actually able to make some really sophisticated things there if you want to. And also, I mean, what's very interesting about Gutenberg is that I mean, even if you turn off the module, you would still have your content. So it's like, of course, there are dynamic stuff that would discontinue to work, but it's interesting to play around with. Then you would see like how to work.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think it was everything.
Okay,
Will it
I think
work? It just came in a new question
one
from Vladimir.
more question, yes. From Vladimir, will it work with custom data? For example, can I render my form from my custom module using Gutenberg?
And I don't see any problems with doing that, but I guess you have to create a custom Gutenberg block, right, Pawel?
Yeah, I think so, if I properly understand. But if it comes to create a form by Gutenberg, there is no issues with that. You can create just like Thor said, the custom block for that. But to make it more easy, you can follow up the WordPress documentation about Gutenberg components, because every block is made basically based on so-called components. They are just React components, but pre-defined for the Gutenberg. And you don't need to create all the, for example, inputs or selects by yourself, but you can use that Drupal Gutenberg components to do it by yourself, by you. So, for example, there is component for image upload, file upload, inputs field, just text area. So you can easily create your own settings block or maybe some form just like you want. There is no issue with this.
No, and I can also say that we've built some very nice custom blocks that I mean Gutenberg blocks that directly integrates with external systems. For example, maybe a company have a DAM system, I mean digital asset management system, where they have videos or images externally. We built Gutenberg blocks where you go into Gutenberg and you just say that I want to use this, for example, a media block now. And then we had like live search fields in the Gutenberg block, fetching content straight from external systems. So you're able to do very advanced, nice things there. And then you can choose, of course, to make that integrate nicely with the media library and so on.
There is one more question about.
From Dima, I guess, how many projects you, meaning front-end agency, maintaining using Gutenberg?
And then I guess you mean actual websites, right? Actual projects, I assume.
I guess so, yeah.
I don't have the exact number for that, but I can tell you that, but you know, it must be at least 10, I mean, more, yeah. But I can tell you that since we seriously released Gutenberg, we have added Gutenberg for all our web projects since then. We have not had a single client that has said no. So, you know, it's totally something we have in production for a number of sites.
Thank you. And we also have a question from Anatoly. Is it supporting views? Can I put a view with exposed filters into any page using Gutenberg?
That's a great question. Oh, you were not finished?
No, go ahead.
Yeah. And yeah, as I see, Iwon here is saying yes to that. And I mean, one thing is to just add a view into Gutenberg, and that's something that we've had for a very long time. I mean, since almost the first release we had, because we saw that we had to do that to have dynamic content. But what's very interesting is, you know, the exposed filters. Like, for example, Pawel demoed here. He had like this recent article view, and also that parameter in the sidebar where he could set like an offset to ignore the first articles and say that, yeah, for these, I want to display 4 articles, but, you know, I'm going to skip the first one because I have a larger block in the top showing the first one and so on. So, do you want to add anything to that, Pawel?
Yeah, I only need to say that it is not inside the official version of Gutenberg for Drupal. So now we are working on this. But what I have done here for the presentation for that dynamic block, I used the Drupal filter for that. Just like we use for the dynamic blocks, I created the own module for that, where I create the filter for the content. And as we can add settings for any custom block, we can do everything with this. And this is just out of the box in the Gutenberg. But after saving it, we have a static HTML inside the content. And with the filter, I put the data from that HTML content comment, such as in our example, it was articles to skip, and then I used the Drupal filter to create a view with a context filter, and I used the data from Gutenberg to set that offset to the Drupal view module. Yep. But I need to do it just for that block. We don't have any automatic tool to create any filter for the views for now.
No, that's true. That's true. But we have done several cases for this, so just feel free to reach out to us, and you can talk to other developers in the FrontCom that have done similar things. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Another question from Dima. How about the other forms? Can I embed, for example, web form?
That's a very good question, and I'm a bit unsure actually, but I believe that with web form you're able to set the web form itself to be a block, right?
Yes, that's right. And you can use web form block as a dynamic block inside the editor, as far as I know.
Yeah.
So it
I don't see any issues to that. You probably need to style it, but that's it, I guess. So what happens? Are we past time?
We are not past time, but it looks like some of our attendees like messed up with time a little bit.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's 1 hour early in Belgium.
Yeah.
But anyways, we are recording this presentation, means we will share recording and slides later, probably tomorrow. Hi, Coin. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, good to see you.
Okay, do we have any other question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
Actually, this question is to Anatoly Polyakov. That's related to my initiative that I proposed to have overview at the Drupal Cafe. Probably it's not the time to do it now, but I would like to know the feedback of the community from all of you guys. I would like to see
Alexei, we do not hear you well. Can you please repeat what you were talking about?
Yeah. This my question is related to the initiative of Drupal core weekly review.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question is to the full community: are you interested to have short overview of this initiative next, or maybe next meeting?
Okay, so if community is interested, I guess everyone can answer in our chat. Yep. Maybe Alexei, you can also share your email or something so people can reach out to you directly.
Probably I will create posted Facebook group and we'll discuss it there.
You also can send me a message with email I shared on my webpage, specially created for that. Just follow that website and you will find the link to send me an email.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Well, I guess we answered all the questions.
Sorry, I have one question more.
Great.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Iwon.
I had waiting. Maybe someone asked, and maybe I should hear answer, but no. So okay, as I understand, we can use Gutenberg like just for front end using just React. But which API you have used with Gutenberg? It's something like model and JavaScript, model PHP model and JavaScript, or maybe it's REST API or something like JSON API. Because, for example, on the last project we have used Drupal 9 and almost not used Drupal on the front end. So not almost. We not use Drupal on the front end. We use only just a React.
Mm-hmm.
And React working using just JSON API. That's why that's the question: can I use Gutenberg only with React and JSON API? Because Drupal have a little bit, maybe it's only from my side, a little bit issue with fields when you are creating some data. For example, you need first time saving taxonomy, or you need first time saving some user or another entity, and after connect to your entity, entity data. It's not some node, yes, or it's taxonomy. How I can use it with Gutenberg?
Yeah, so you basically, it's a decoupled system, basically.
Yes. Yeah. It's decoupled.
So, well, I don't know. I'm probably not the one that should be answering that. I guess this is something for Marco, which is not here today, our lead Drupal Gutenberg developer. But I see no issues with doing that. I mean, there are several ways of approaching it. Obviously, if you use Gutenberg for the backend, you could send that into the different fields for the content types that you need, and just go from there using JSON or whatever as an endpoint. But I'm not sure. Pawel, have you any thought related to this in terms of rendering the front end there?
Okay, so I don't know if I clearly understand, but some people started to treat Gutenberg as something very, very different than everything what they already seen. But you need to know that Gutenberg is only more sophisticated editor content. It is more WYSIWYG editor, more advanced WYSIWYG editor. So I can't see any issues with any REST API. So if Drupal can get some data from nodes and post them as a REST API, I can see any issue with Drupal Gutenberg with this, because in fact the data, it saves the same way as the just regular content. I'm thinking only about using dynamic logs here, because in fact they are pre-rendered by Drupal structures, by Drupal filters and PHP, so you probably can't use any dynamic content inside the Gutenberg editor, but part of this you can do everything with this. I know I've never used Gutenberg with the REST API, but I don't think that this is the issue, because in fact it is just an editor. and React is used only on the backend, on the editor side of the page. On the front, there is nothing related to the React in Drupal, also on WordPress.
So then you would basically just do that as with the rest of the content from the backend then through JSON.
Yeah, that's right. So if you even disable Gutenberg, the content will still the same, and your page still work and look the same. So I can't see any issue to use any REST API with this.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But just a moment, as I understood, probably now we can't use Gutenberg and mapping all fields. We save it all data into body field. As I understood, maybe I'm wrong.
Yes,
Sorry.
that's right.
Okay, but when we have used REST API, we need mapping all fields because, for example, if we need save some taxonomy field, first of all, what we need to do is save this taxonomy by query, and after connect to entity. It's did you have maybe some issue with this, or it's? I will switch on user. Or it's maybe you okay. Maybe you have not used this editor like REST API. Maybe this is more faster question before you have used. Maybe first of all we need to try to use this like REST API because maybe it's very early question before it. Because as I see, Gutenberg is better second version. Yes.
I think that you should talk to Marco about this. So, but feel free to reach out or send me an email, and we could set up a meeting to discuss it if you want. But because I can't answer the question basically.
Yeah, but the Marco is the best person to answer that. But from my side, I can't imagine any issue related to this. So it should work.
Yeah.
Just normally.
It should.
But maybe Marco have some more experience with this.
Yeah. Usually when we have when we're getting questions related to using a decoupled setup, though we haven't really seen the benefit of that so far. I mean, then you know, he says that, you know, there shouldn't be any problems of doing that, but you know, you just have to make sure that the output of the Gutenberg blocks it's something that matches the setup that you want to have basically. So it should be possible.
Yes, but again, in this project we had used Sika editor. Yes, Sika editor, but we had one issue because I don't know, it was first project in Drupal 9. That's why we don't have experience with this. We had one issue when we save data and when we back data to editing again. When we save data in HTML, this convert, and sometimes we need convert HTML text again to HTML. And how this Gutenberg editor issue is this, because with CK editor we need to convert again. For example, HTML converted to, for example, remove HTML text, some scripts, for example, some another HTML text, because in database you can
what did you say? Tweets, for example?
Scripts.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, remove and back in another field. It's field serialized, I guess, name it. JSON API backed 3 fields. This is body, this is type of field, HTML or filtered HTML, something like this, type body, summary, and after serialized, I guess, serialized field. And in these fields, you can get all data and save it data to this field.
Okay, maybe I can answer. I don't know if you clearly understand, but in the Gutenberg, the blocks structure is very, it's fixed. It should be just like the Gutenberg, mm, um, just like the Gutenberg is expected to be. So if you want to add some custom HTML, you can do this by using just simple HTML block, and you can put everything what you want. And if your team or maybe modules just clearing HTML from editor, for example, removing the script tags or maybe something other not allowed tags, it will be removed. But basically, you can put just HTML inside the Gutenberg in the appropriate block. But any other block need to be the same as they should be. So there are some issues with this. If someone edit HTML manually and then trying to enable Gutenberg again, because Gutenberg trying to find for example, some HTML attributes or HTML content or HTML comments to recreate the React block with help of this data, because it's not all the data of the Gutenberg blocks is saved in the HTML comments, but also inside the HTML tags. For example, paragraph is looking for the text between the paragraph tag of the HTML. And if you do something manually with the code, the block will break probably. So I don't know if that answers your question, but if all of the blocks are not modified manually, Gutenberg should always recreate the React structure of each component of each block after re-editing that.
I'm afraid we we can't go deeper into this, but yeah.
Yes, it's a little bit different, but okay, I had understand. And one more question, it's about, for example, if I configure for different content type, different paths to a file, images news, images blog, images, I don't know, something else. Gutenberg is save a different type, or it's like a CK editor, save it in one root folder or some another folder.
I'm not sure I understood the question.
For example, if we are add image using CK editor, CK editor first issue with CK editor, it's CK editor don't writing anything into that table file usage. This first issue that I had always. Second issue, CK editor using own folder for saving.
Editor? What are you saying?
CK editor.
CK editor. Okay, yeah.
Yes, always using own folder or some folder that I can configure for all content type and for all entity. Using this folder to uploading images. Then
here you can use the media. Here you can use the media library.
Yeah, Gutenberg used just Drupal media library.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, and I think my time is up soon, actually, but I think there is another couple of questions in the chat here. But
yes, we have a couple of more questions, and yeah, please let us know if you are out of time or.
Yeah, very soon at least. We can take a couple more questions if you're quick.
Okay. So then you choose.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start from the top here. with paragraphs, it is to have translations to set it, and every paragraph has to be translated. So it's not possible to change paragraphs around and also remove one. Yeah, I mean, if it's a content type that has a fixed layout, you could use a template to define that. And then, oh, sorry, something in my eye. And then basically, you can set it to be very strict, you know. This content type will have these Gutenberg blocks always. But the use case you're talking about here is actually something that we've been struggling so much with in paragraphs. Because our experience is that most people working on translating content in paragraphs also, as in paragraphs module, they say that, you know, very often we do not want the English version of a web page to be, you know, exactly like the Norwegian one, for example. So usually it's different people, two different journalists. One journalist is working with writing the English content, and then there is someone else doing the Norwegian. And actually, I would say that it's a great feature of Gutenberg that you actually have the option to work around that and make it possible, so you don't have to force that same strict list of blocks every time. But it is true. I mean, if you sort of use Gutenberg, you translate that site, and then if you go in and do change on the original, it will probably not be reflected on the first one, right, Pawel?
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I guess that was the answer, and I'm very happy that it works like that. I mean, I've never seen a client very happy about being forced to use the same paragraphs on two different languages. Okay.
Another question.
Moving on. Yeah. I see here.
What is the difference between Drupal module version 1.11 and 2.0?
2.0. Oh, I can't remember from the top. I think you have to go do a comparison on Drupal.org. But I think like field mapping and templates are part of 2.0. Isn't that right, Pawel?
I guess that everything works the same, but I think this the 2.0 is related to the new version of the Gutenberg in WordPress. So
yeah. Also,
it will be transformed. It will transform the new WordPress features to the Drupal, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Can we think about Gutenberg as about extension or alternative of CK editor?
It's definitely an alternative.
Yeah, that's right. It's nothing in common with CK editor.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. If render happens on backend in filters and we can put Drupal blocks inside, then for good caching, we need all the cache metadata from Drupal render arrays. Does it work well?
I have not seen any issues related to that. We've had highly cacheable sites using Gutenberg. So I would say that the question is yes to that. No, I mean the answer is yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Looks like we answered all the questions, right?
I think so.
Oh, one more from Nika. Could it be possible to save the Gutenberg elements in fields?
Yes, it is possible.
Yes.
Using field mapping, yeah.
Yeah, you need to see the presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, rewind and repeat. Yeah.
Thank you so much for such a great presentation. I have to admit that we had, this is the fourth Drupal Cafe this year. And today we have the highest amount of questions. Like previous cafes, it was like 5 maximum. And today we already answered like around 20, I guess. That is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been great. I'm not complaining. I know it's just my time is up, but it's so nice to get questions and get some discussions here. So very happy about it. So then please reach out. Find our company Frontcom or send us direct emails and let's discuss how to get this thing moving forward. And I hope to see you all in the Drupal camp next year. When COVID is over and done. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we also hope to see everyone and you, Thor, and Pawel on Drupal Camp Kyiv, hopefully next year. The date for this Drupal camp is already booked. It should be. We hope it will be on June 12th.
In hope we trust.
Yeah. So stay tuned for updates. And again, thank you so much for such a great presentation. We will share tomorrow the recording for those who want to review and for those who were late.
It has booked for 12th of June. So it's we are close to it.
Nice.
Yeah, close to Drupal camp. Thank you so much.
Great initiative. Nice to meet you all.